Okay, so let's just unpack this right away. Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Imagine it is 2026.
Which is, right around the corner.
Right. And we are living in this future that every breathless tech editorial promised us 3 years ago. Generative AI adoption has hit nearly 55% across the global workforce.
Yeah.
And just to frame that for you listening, that is faster than the PC, it's faster than the internet, faster than smartphones. We have effectively given half the human workforce a second brain.
It really is the steepest adoption curve in the history of technology. If you look at the chart, it's a vertical line.
Right. So logically, you look at that vertical line and you think, okay, the global economy must be absolutely exploding right now.
Oh, yeah, you'd expect a total boom.
We should be seeing a GDP supernova, like a
Yeah.
golden age of leisure, productivity graphs going completely off the charts, and, everyone high-fiving as they leave the office at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
You would think so. The math definitely suggests it.
But we aren't. And this is the part that honestly drives me crazy. Global GDP is barely budging. The productivity stats are totally flatlining. It is like we strapped a literal jet engine to a bicycle and we are still pedaling at the exact same speed. Why?
Yeah, this is what economists are currently calling the AI productivity paradox. And honestly, it's the central mystery of our time right now. Because if everyone is working so much faster, and if the tools are so incredibly powerful, where is all that value actually going?
Right.
Why isn't the needle moving?
And that is exactly what we're going to solve in this deep dive today. We have a really fascinating stack of sources that, honestly, at first glance, they seem like they shouldn't even go together.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised when I saw the stack myself.
But they fit perfectly. We've got this heavy-hitting socioeconomic analysis titled AI's Economic Impact and Hidden Labor, which gives us all the hard numbers on what is actually happening in the workplace.
Yeah.
And then we are pairing that with a conceptual framework called the Model of Intimacy.
Which sounds a bit like a relationship guide.
It totally does, or like a self-help book or something.
Yeah.
But it's actually this really dense PDF about the physics of communication and design choices.
Yeah.
And trust me, by the end of this deep dive, you're going to realize that intimacy is actually the missing link in the global economy.
That's the mission today, to explain why AI feels like a personal miracle for you, but a macroeconomic mystery for the world, and how a totally new definition of intimacy might be the absolute only way to unclog the system.
And for our longtime listeners, here is where it gets really interesting. This all connects directly back to that day 5 concept and the metabolic clarity idea we unpacked in our previous Parampora Deep Dogs.
Yeah.
It's all about how we move from noise to signal.
Exactly. For the new listeners, we'll give you a quick primer on that later. But let's start with the car crash. Or rather, the traffic jam.
A bottleneck.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Let's look at the stats from software engineering in 2025 and 2026. These numbers are just wild. Developers are completing 21% more tasks. They are merging 98% more pull requests, which is basically just code updates for those not in tech, than they were just a couple of years ago.
Almost double the output. That is massive.
Double the output. But, and here is the massive catch, the time required for human review of that code has increased by 91%.
There it is. That is the paradox in a nutshell. We have totally accelerated the creation side of things, but we have completely stalled the validation. And to understand why this is happening, we really have to talk about something called Amdahl's law.
Amdahl's law. Okay, I usually hear that in the context of like supercomputing. Break that down for us in plain English.
Sure, it's a concept from computing architecture, but it applies so perfectly to human organizations. Amdahl's law basically states that the maximum speed of any system is limited by its slowest sequential part.
Okay, so like the weakest link in the chain determines the strength.
Kind of, but not just the weak link. Specifically, the part that cannot be done in parallel. See, AI is amazing at the writing part. That's parallelizable.
Right.
You can have an AI draft 10 emails, write 1,000 lines of code, or generate 50 slide decks all in a matter of seconds. That's parallel processing.
Infinite scale on the drafting side.
Exactly. But the validating part, the meetings, the code reviews, the approvals, the actual human decision-making that is still human. And humans are sequential processors. We can really only do one thing at a time. You cannot critically review 5 massive code bases simultaneously.
So the AI is pumping out all this content at supersonic speeds, and it's all just slamming into a brick wall of human managers who are reading at the exact same speed they always have.
Yes, we have accelerated the production of information, but we haven't accelerated the metabolism of decision-making. The sources use a very visceral term for the result: They call it work slop.
Work slop. Oh, that is a gross word.
It really is.
It sounds like something they serve in a dystopian cafeteria.
But it's accurate. It's low quality, high volume output. Because it's so incredibly easy to generate, people just generate more of it. More code, more emails, more slides, and it just clogs up the whole system. It creates this massive traffic jam where the actual signal gets completely lost in the noise.
And this ties directly into that J-curve theory mentioned in the economic report, right?
Right, the productivity J-curve. It's an economic theory that suggests when a powerful new technology arrives, productivity actually dips at first.
Because people are just figuring it out.
Exactly, because companies are stuck in what economists call the co-invention phase. They're trying to use old structures like the traditional 9-to-5 workday or the standard synchronous hour-long meeting format to manage a tool that literally breaks all the old rules. We just haven't reorganized around the new speed yet.
So we're currently in the J-curve dip. We are drowning in work slump and just waiting for the curve to swing upward. But there is another reason that GDP isn't moving, and this one is, well, it's a bit more psychological, it's secretive.
Oh, this is the favorite part of the entire research stack, the mask of the ambassador.
This phenomenon explains so much of what I see every day. The data shows that 45% of the workforce is actively concealing their AI use from their employers.
Almost half.
Half. And get this, it's not just the interns or the new grads. 57% of Gen X workers are hiding it.
Which really challenges that whole stereotype that this is just kids cheating on their homework. This is experienced veteran professionals effectively running a black ops operation right at their desks.
But why hide it, though? I mean, if I'm twice as productive, shouldn't I be bragging like, hey, boss, look what I did today?
You would definitely think so. But the source identifies a very real fear here. They call it the competence penalty. Workers are terrified that if they actually admit a task took them 5 minutes because of AI, instead of the usual 5 hours, they aren't going to get praised for it.
Right.
They'll be viewed as lazy. Or, even worse, totally replaceable.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the AI did it. Great, here's 10 times more work for the exact same pay. Or, hey, great, we don't even need your position anymore.
Precisely. The reward for extreme efficiency in our current corporate system is essentially punishment. So, what happens? They hide it, they put on the mask, they do the work in 5 minutes, and then they spend the next 4 hours and 55 minutes waiting,
acting busy,
performing effort. Literally just wiggling the mouse so their team's icon stays green.
performing effort. And this creates what the source calls a shadow economy. See, normally in capitalism, and the source actually brings in a really interesting Marxist analysis here, normally, technology increases the rate of exploitation. The boss uses the new machine to get more value out of the worker.
Right, the surplus value usually goes straight to the company. That's just economics 101.
But here, the workers are engaging in what the document calls guerrilla resistance. They're capturing that surplus value that saved time for themselves. They're taking it back as reclaimed leisure time. So the efficiency gain isn't going to the global GDP at all. It's going to the workers' mental health. Or maybe their side hustle. Or just staring at the wall in their home office.
Which, on a purely human level, feels like a huge win. If the system is broken, why not take the time back?
Yeah, good for them.
But structurally, for the broader economy, it creates big problems. And one of the biggest is context rot.
Context rot. That sounds bad. Explain that one for us.
Well, imagine a junior developer using AI right now. They can produce code that looks exactly like a senior engineer wrote it. But because they're actively hiding the tool from their boss, they aren't getting the mentorship or the feedback they actually need.
Because they're pretending they did it the hard way.
Right. They aren't learning the fundamentals. They don't understand the why behind the code they just submitted. They become orchestrators without any actual mastery.
Okay, this is exactly like the dishes metaphor from our previous discussions on Parampara. They're getting the dishes done, but they don't know why the dishes actually matter, or how to wash them if the dishwasher breaks.
Exactly. It leads to this de-skilling spiral. And that brings us right back to the bottleneck we talked about. We have people hiding their speed, managers totally drowning in work slop, and a communication infrastructure that is completely failing to handle the load.
So clearly, we need a way better way to communicate. We need to stop the work slop. And that leads us to our second big source today, the one that initially